the Northwest Weather Podcast from Fox 13 Seattle.
All right, welcome everyone to the Northwest Weather Podcast. I am meteorologist Claire Anderson.
And I'm meteorologist Ilona McCauley. Welcome.
And we are here today talking about mountain snow. It is January and it is finally time to talk about the snow because, Ilona, we really haven't had a whole lot of it.
No, and of course we had those two really strong atmospheric rivers that really washed out everything that we had gotten up there at the ski resorts, and we were a little concerned whether or not we were going to be able to salvage the ski season this year.
I know. I mean, I feel bad for those people who bought those season's passes, and it's a La Nina year, so the forecast, is showing more snow and colder temperatures. We're not out of that yet, but definitely started off slow. Let's talk about the snow we've been seeing because it has been heavy snow up in the Cascades for the last several days.
Yeah, these are some pretty impressive totals. I mean, we were talking just a few days ago when we started forecasting this really strong cold front that was coming through with rounds of snow. A good 2 to 4 feet was forecasted, and we're really living up to that billing, as you can see right there, especially for Stevens Pass and Mount Baker coming in with 20 inches just over the last 24 hours. The totals there for the last couple days. White Pass not far behind at 16 inches, and then you've got over a foot as well at Crystal Mountain and Snoqualmie Pass, which, Snoqualmie Pass has the capability of making snow. So this is going to do great for them.
And what's crazy is this is just like maybe halfway point almost because we still had the totals that we're going to get through this afternoon because this was about Tuesday, I'd say midday through Wednesday, midday, these totals, and we're going to see more snow tonight and into our Thursday as well. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about was how much snow we've seen so far because it is nice to have maybe milder weather, but it's also important to have a lot of that snow for the snowpack, and that's something to watch pretty closely here. And we've been looking at the latest snowpack conditions. Here is what we've been seeing. Ilona, you just looked at this. Tell me what you go.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, we've seen an increase in all of these.
Good.
So that is wonderful news. And really these last couple of rounds of the heavier snowfall that we had just within the last few days. And then actually even last weekend, we had a couple rounds of really good snowfall up in the mountains. So you can see by these totals, they have increased everywhere, area wide. And as you mentioned, I mean, we're still really far behind for some of our central Cascades, but we're at least trending in the right direction. And these numbers are important to watch because this really does set us up for our water as we get into the drier months in the summertime and the drought conditions. So we want to pad these right now as much as we possibly can.
Definitely. And January and February around here, we can get a lot of snow even into March and early April. So we are starting slow, but we still have time to build back up. But let's take a look at the forecast, 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook for the entire country. So this is looking into next week. Unfortunately, the West Coast looks pretty dry, and we are going to be seeing those conditions sticking around, those dry conditions, here we go, into, several days, which is typically we see kind of more wetter conditions for this time of year, but drier than normal. That is next Tuesday through Saturday. And then we're also looking at temperatures.
Yeah, so we're going to be trending a little bit warmer, and we're already starting to see this as we were forecasting out for that extended forecast, that 7-day period that we build out, every day. And we're already, as we get into later part of the upcoming weekend and early next week, we're already starting to see that trend with some temperatures becoming more mild. We're talking about low 50s, so it's going to feel quite a bit different than compared to the last few days when you step outside.
And the thing that's so hard about this is, as a Pacific Northwesterner growing up here, the winter time, the gray time is always hard. We look forward to the sunshine, mild temperatures, but we need the rain. Yeah. We need the snow. So it's one of those, kind of catch-22s where you got to have it. We got to have it in order to keep us green here.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll try to squeeze out every last bit that we possibly can here. And as you mentioned, I mean, the season is long, so we're just, where we got a little bit of a slow start, but luckily we have some good solid months ahead of us still.
And I wanted to take a look at the 7-day real quick because just talking about heading into this weekend and looking at our conditions for the next several days. So we still are under a winter storm warning. This is through Thursday afternoon, so it might be expired by the time this comes out. But looking into the weekend, we do see those milder temperatures like you just said.
Yeah. And I mean, even though you could still see the rainfall, we were hoping we would squeeze out a dry weekend. It started to look like that in the early part of the week, but now as we're getting into the latter part of the weekend, really closer to the weekend, we can't take rain totally out of the forecast, but it's not going to be quite as widespread as what we've been dealing with. It's been really sloppy outside the last couple of days, but a few showers here and there, and that does still transition to a little bit of more mountain snow up there. The snow levels will start to increase, so we won't be seeing them quite as low as the passes as we're seeing right now. But again, even at those tallest peaks, every little bit is going to help up there as well.
And you know what's interesting too is those overnight low temperatures, it's not that cold. I mean, we really haven't seen a whole lot of freezing temperatures in December.
No, we've been lucky.
And then into January. So, who knows? Mother Nature might be laughing at us here in a few weeks and saying, well, remember how mild it was? Joke's on you guys. Now we're going to get that cold push. So it's the Northwest, right?
Yeah. And we can't even rule out because there was a couple years ago, fairly recently, if I remember, I can't remember the exact year, we did get February snow.
Oh, yeah.
We went all winter without something.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, bam, it hit us in February. So I am not discounting that.
I think even last year I was on maternity leave and I had just had baby and I remember it was snowing. So that was at least mid-January to early February that I remember there was snow. So don't give up just yet for those snow lovers. Great news for the slopes. Hopefully everyone can get out, be safe. Oh, I also want to mention that avalanche danger is high. The South Cascades, I was looking at that. I was looking at the snow totals. So if you are going to go backcountry, just be careful. You have, heavy snow falling, a little bit of unstableness. It's had a hard time kind of building. So please be very careful. We always want people to be safe when they're out in the backcountry.
Absolutely. That is by far the most important thing to keep an eye on for sure. So we want you to have a great time. Our mountains are beautiful. The outdoors are what we live for here. Just make sure you're paying attention to the weather conditions for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Northwest Weather Podcast. And until next time, see you later.
Take care.
Northwest Weather is available wherever you get your podcast.